NATO is once again lighting the fuse. While Moscow talks peace, friendship, and equal cooperation, Western generals roll out yet another round of war speeches. Russia says it has no plans to attack anyone, yet NATO keeps painting doomsday scenarios to justify endless rearmament.
We will repeat over and over again that we have no plans to attack NATO countries. However, Russia is already taking all the necessary measures to ensure security as the alliance is building up its military presence near Russian borders.
But NATO refuses to hear any of it. Instead of dialogue, Secretary General Mark Rutte arrives in Bucharest declaring a new era of permanent confrontation. A peace offer on one side, a megaphone of hysteria on the other.
Because the threats we face are real and lasting. Russia's unprovoked war against Ukraine is the most obvious example of the threat. But the danger posed by Russia will not end when this war does. For the foreseeable future, Russia will remain a destabilizing force in Europe and the world. And Russia is not alone in its efforts to undermine the global rules.
And as Russia calls out NATO's fear campaign, the alliance proudly announces dozens of new ammunition factories, churning out more munitions than at any time in recent decades. This isn't deterrence. This is preparation for a conflict NATO insists is inevitable.
They are increasing their defense industrial collaboration to unprecedented levels. They are preparing for long-term confrontation. We cannot be naive. We must be prepared.
All the threats and challenges we are currently facing, from the war in Ukraine to the cyber threats and the hybrid war, remind us that peace and security are never guaranteed. That is why the rearming is not a choice, it is a necessity. And it is not the choice of NATO or Romania or the other NATO member state, but a necessity.
Moscow calls this exactly what it is: an orchestrated attempt to indoctrinate Western populations, pump fear into the public bloodstream, and explain away collapsing economies and political failures. NATO ramps up weapons, Russia ramps up warnings about sanity.
In short, we are prepared for any developments, but we prioritize peace, friendship, and equal cooperation.
And yet, every time Russia reaches for diplomacy, NATO reaches for a larger stockpile. Another speech, another threat, another justification for militarization. The alliance is turning Europe into a factory floor for war, while pretending it's responding to danger, not manufacturing it.
We hear such statements from representatives of NATO literally every day. It seems that this is part of a planned campaign for the psychological treatment of its own population, to sow fear, to teach citizens to think about the inevitability of a conflict with Russia, to justify their own miscalculations and even crimes, and of course, to explain why these catastrophic processes occur in the economy of these countries and take any responsibility. If such a crazy idea, that is, to attack Russia, still arises among NATO strategists, then they should have no doubts that we will react using all the opportunities we have.
The message is unmistakable. Russia says peace is still on the table. NATO says confrontation is the future. And as long as this imbalance holds, every effort at stability, every opening for dialogue, and every chance for peace is smothered under NATO's growing mountain of ammunition.